greetings from Bindaas stands. Hope you're well and staying home and staying safe. We're still in quarantine, so I hope you're enjoying all our videos and podcasts, etc., etc. So today we have the lovely Nikita Santhosh. Hello, welcome.
You?
Um, you probably have seen Nikita all throughout the Melbourne and Sydney and just national dance scene, but she joined us, I think, last year. Was it
Yeah.
last year? Gosh, time's flown. Yeah.
No. Crazy.
Yeah, it's I can't even believe it's mid-May. It's just quarantine's flying more than usual life, which is a bit crazy anyway. But welcome. Thank you so much for making the time. I think this will get posted a bit delayed, but it's Mother's Day, so Nikita's been teaching and she's been doing Mother's Day stuff as well with her family, and she's taken out the time on a Sunday to do this with us. So thank you. Super
That's
grateful for that.
Thank you for having me, and happy Mother's Day to everybody, all the mums out there.
I actually got a happy Mother's Day wish, and I was so confused. Some of my students, their parents sent me a message saying all the kids said Happy Mother's Day, and I thought, what?
Aww, maybe they see you as like a motherly figure.
No, I think because all teachers are kind of secondary mothers anyway, and I think that's what they meant. It was so sweet of them, 7, 8, 9-year-olds thinking at that level as well. It's very, very sweet of them. But before I blab too much, okay, so tell us about your dance journey, because you made a massive move from Sydney to Melbourne as well, and just tell our audience. I know people are already familiar with you, but just for our fans and our audience, just about what art forms and styles that you teach and perform as well.
Sure. So, I am originally from Sydney. I've probably been in Sydney for about 21 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then I moved over to Melbourne. My husband's from Melbourne, so I got married to him and we moved here. Well, I moved here. I didn't have to move anywhere. I still use it as a great trump card, but anyway. So I moved over. And back in Sydney, I'd actually first started learning Bharatanatyam from my mum. So my mum was a Bharatanatyam dancer, like when she was younger, when she was my age. She had actually done a fair few number of years, with her Guruji, and she was almost up to the level of doing her Arangetram as well. But unfortunately, at the time, they didn't have enough money to actually hold the whole thing. So
They're very expensive.
Oh my God, it's like a second wedding.
Yeah. I think it's more than buying a house, like the house deposit. I just, oh goodness.
It's great. Actually, my mom kept joking, saying I don't care if you want to elope. I don't care if you want a wedding in Vegas, whatever. You are going to have a massive engagement. That's it. I'll deal with that. I'm okay with that. But yeah, no, so I started learning from her. I think I still remember it was on our balcony in some little apartment that we used to live in. And just praying to God that no one would come and knock on our door and say, say, please stop banging around. And then I started actually learning Kuchipudi because we couldn't find any other Bharatanatyam teacher.
Okay.
And I don't think my mom really felt comfortable enough to continue teaching me just, level of teaching and understanding of dance. It's kind of different, I guess.
Yeah.
But yes,
special to be learning from your mom. That's so intimate and special in itself. So
yeah, it does also give her all the right to yell at me at whatever and whenever. So, but no, I do remember those days, and I know back then I was very much I have to do dance with my mom. So not cool. But now it's kind of I really wish I could just dance with you again. It's there. I'm actually teaching my mom and a couple of her friends Bharatanatyam online now because of this whole isolation thing. So
wow, how the tables have turned.
Yeah. Now I can yell at her all I want.
Exactly. There you go, karma.
Exactly. But yeah, so then I went to Kuchipudi. I started learning Kuchipudi for a couple of years with Raghavanji from Sydney. So he's quite well renowned in Sydney. His daughter has also kind of taken over the school, and they do a lot of Bollywood performances, a lot of Kuchipudi performances. So they've been around for I think almost 30, 40 years, if I'm
Long
honest.
time, yeah.
Yeah, and I still remember him. He was an amazing person. was actually quite old at the time as well. I think he was probably in his 50s, I want to say, at the time. But the way he danced, it was so powerful. Like each and every beat that he did, like the entire gymnasium almost just vibrated. It was amazing, amazing. So yeah, I do miss him. And then I went back to Bharatanatyam under my official guru, who is Usha Karnadhan. So she is super well known in Sydney. I'm sure in other parts of Australia as well. Yeah. She's very strict, but it's totally worth it. Yeah. It is so worth it. Like all her choreographies, and even, just like learning from her. Not just, like what she teaches you, but it's more like how she teaches you. So, like for example, like all the expressions and like, or as we refer to as like the bhavam part, she actually like adds like little dialogues into it. So you can kind of say these little dialogues in your mind and bring out that expression as well. So, and it's just like these tiny little tips and tricks that she gives you, and it just makes a world of difference. So thanks to her, I've probably grown so much in Bharatanatyam. And she's actually given me the confidence to teach it as well, because I know what works, I know what doesn't work. And so it's, and then I moved to Melbourne, and here I am. Decided to start my own dance school.
You said, tell us about Nupur Arts Academy that you run here in Melbourne now.
Yeah, so I run it in Brunswick or pre-ISO, I should say. Used to run it in Brunswick. Now it's all online, which is super cool. Hard, but cool. But yeah, so I teach Bharatanatyam for beginners, intermediate and advanced. So I've got 3 students at the moment in Melbourne, in the Brunswick next level studios. Oh my god, I haven't been there. So
ISO brain, it's happening to everyone.
Like, I remember living room. That helps.
Everyone remembers where the kitchen is these days.
Yep. So Next Level Studios on Victoria Street in Brunswick. And that's on every Sundays at 10 when there is no isolation. But that said, we're keeping the same times even for our online classes. So 10 to 11 is beginners, and then 11 to 12 is my Sydney special advanced class, I'll say.
No, it's great.
So it is difficult to kind of teach online, I'll be honest. You and I'm sure you'll be experiencing the exact same thing. It's so much harder to kind of have that face-to-face interaction. And there's a lot like, can everyone go on mute, please? It's disturbing the music. Or can you do this?
And I think regardless of how fast the internet connection is, there's always that slight lag. And just, I think you said it perfectly, that human interaction, it's just completely disappeared. So it's good. I mean, online classes are great, but there's still barriers.
There is, yeah. But so that's me in a nutshell.
I actually wanted to ask you, like, Melbourne in general, in comparison to Sydney, like, do you see much of a difference in the dance scene? Like with classical and Bollywood?
Yeah, so I've actually noticed that there's a lot more classical dancers in Melbourne than there is in Sydney. I don't know why, but it just is. Maybe people here are just a little bit more cultured. I don't know.
It's like the New York of Australia. So I guess like it's I've heard that from a lot of Sydney dancers, that it's just there is a little bit of competition in terms of the urban and the hip hop and the Bollywood scene, but there's not much classical dance schools. So
no, there isn't. So I was actually really lucky that Ushanti was in Sydney, and I was able to learn from her as well. So I got super lucky with that one.
No, I think you're lucky. I mean, you had Usha Ji as well, and also your mum. So it's just like just the beauty of having your mum as a guru and another guru as well. So that's so beautiful. I wanted to ask you, like, just as a dancer and as a teacher, how do you feel when you're on stage and when you're in class teaching as well? Just generally.
So in class, I'll take our Bindaas classes as an example. When I'm learning someone else's choreography, I am so challenged. Like, I feel like I'm really being pushed to, like just to kind of further myself, just to better myself in Bollywood. I'm not going to say that I am, the greatest dancer in Bharatanatyam or the greatest dancer in Bollywood. God, no, I've got so much to learn. It is unbelievable. And just honestly learning from all the different kinds of teachers out there, it really, really, really broadens your mind, and you're kind of like, oh my God, there's so much to learn. And then you go on stage and you're like, you know what, actually, I noticed that this person in this class did this thing. I noticed them in the mirror and I really liked it. I think I'm going to steal it. I'm going to put it on stage. And it's just a whole lot of experimenting. It's so fun. I think it was actually at one of my back in Sydney. I had a performance with one of my friends, and she had actually stepped on something sharp.
Oh.
And she turned around. I think there was like a circle step where we all faced each other, and she turned. She's like, "Fuck! I just stepped on something."
But we all swear on stage with a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but I think it's something that happens to every dancer, and it's such a nightmare, but you're resilient. You keep going with a smile somehow.
Yep. And you're like, yep, I'm going to smile through my teeth. It's really good. But yeah, I mean, on stage, like, you know, the I guess the relationships that you have with your fellow dancers, it just kind of heightens. Like, it's kind of, sure, you have the relationships in classes as well, and, you know, and like rehearsals and things, but something changes when you're on stage with everyone else, and you're kind of like, you know what, we're all in this together. Everyone's watching us. We're going to nail this thing. It's us. We're just out here, you know, we're just out here to have fun.
That's it.
I don't know, something changes. I don't know what it is about the stage, but
no, the stage is a beautiful place. I always I don't know, I made my own fort a long time ago, but I can't say it so beautifully, so maybe I'll work on it. But it's just, the basic gist of it is that, you know, the stage never lets you down. It's always there. It's always under you.
Oh my
God. It's something that no one can take that away from you.
Oh my God,
because life is so unpredictable, but I'll make it very articulate someday soon and release it.
Please do. Oh my God, that is really good. That actually sums up exactly how you feel about stage, and also just like the general like life itself, you know, like when nothing's going right and you're just kind of torn down with everything that's going on in life, right? You just kind of, you be like, you know what, I do this amazing thing where I perform in front of people, I entertain people, I have so much fun doing it, and that is always going to be there. You know, like, so right now, yes, we're in isolation and everything, but I had an online performance like 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
An online Bharatanatyam performance 3 weeks ago, never heard of, like, well, for me anyway, I'm sure other people have done it, but, you know, so the performance, the stage, it's always going to be there, whether you're online or on an actual stage, and it's always there. Like, exactly.
Is it accessible, like, still? Is there a link to that? Like, maybe we can all...
Let me find out. Let me find out from my Kathak teacher had actually organized it. So it's like a little forum for classical dancers.
Okay.
Any other dancers are welcome, you know, to kind of like see that, you know, see different kinds of classical dancing, to support fellow dancers in Melbourne. I'm not sure if she's going to expand it to the rest of Australia. That would be good.
That would be great to see it, especially at this time. I think all the dancers and artists need so much more motivation, and we get motivated by seeing other artists work as well, so that would be fantastic. I have a question for you. It's actually from one of our performers, Chloe, the beautiful Chloe Payne. So I'm just going to read it out so I don't mess up what she's written exactly. How do you motivate yourself constantly to come up with new choreography on top of being a dance teacher, as well as doing your full-time unrelated job?
Yes.
You're in IT, I think, yeah?
I'm in IT, yeah. Typical Indian job, right? How do I get the motivation? So pre-ISO, and I feel like I can only really relate at the moment to pre-ISO. Every morning on the train, I usually just listen to music, as probably the rest of the world does. I don't know if you ever get this, but as a dancer, any music that you listen to, there are always steps that always seem to just come to your toes or your fingers or your head, or something happens. And then I end up getting some kind of choreography for it, even if it's like, you know, for 2 seconds or like 3 seconds or something, you just like keep going back and play it. Like, okay, wait, no, this works, that works, this works. And then you go into the office and you're like just sneak into the bathroom and you quickly try the step and you're like, oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, back to square one. So what keeps me motivated, to be honest, is actually just the music. I don't really need that much to be, you know, like dancing or anything like. I'm one of those people where, you know, like if there's any dancing like a club or at like a family get together or whatever, I am up there. I don't care if I'm dancing alone. I will be there. I will dance. I will dance all night long.
That's the way. Why not?
Yeah, pretty much. But then I mean, like after work and stuff, you know, like your mind is just, it's so tired. It's just mentally drained. And you're like, I just want to go home and I just want to sleep. I don't want to do anything. Don't even want to think about dancing. I don't want to think about what's for dinner. I don't want to think about anything. And then you get on the train, you start listening to music, and you're back on your morning commute again, where you're like, oh, all right, now I'm going to try out these steps now when I get home. And then you come home and you're like, oh my God, these steps work.
That's it. You find that excitement. No, I know the feeling. Yeah, it's just. I worked in the health industry before I danced full time, and it was always the case. Like you don't need much motivation. Like it's just sometimes you hear music even without. I used to just visualize things, and sometimes you'll see just like people watching, and you'll see someone walking a certain way, or just even like carrying their work bag or man bag or woman bag or whatever in a certain way, and just little things that they do, their body language, like it connects to a certain beat as well. And you just automatically hear it in your head. Like even when I'm cooking sometimes, and we have sometimes music on, sometimes no music on, and I've literally got a knife in my hand, and I'm just like, don't do that at home, kids. But it's just sometimes you just hear music as well, and because it's already in your head, in your heart, it's in your bones when you dance so much as well, especially when you dance with passion.
Yeah. Oh, but it's really good. Like I mean, it kind of keeps me sane, particularly during ISO. You know, like it's the one thing that I can be like, you know what, I just need to step away from everything, and I'm just gonna go into my bedroom. I'm just gonna put in my earphones and I'm gonna listen to a song. And I'm just gonna choreograph. And that's the thing, I can't actually choreograph standing up and like actually doing it. I need to sit down and
like you're on the train.
Like I'm on the train. Even like my little trips to the grocery store, which is like 3 minutes down the street, I'll plug in my phone, I'll play the music that I want. Like, okay, here we go. By the way, don't try that at home either.
Oh, the typical dancer. I get weird looks at every traffic light I stop at because I'm just like, I've been pulled over for it, I think, because like this, I think there was a bunch of coppers that they just thought I was on something. I think they took a one look at my haircut, and I'm just sitting at the lights going, and yeah, they thought obviously something up, but yeah, nothing happens to the best of us.
It does.
Next question. So I was going to say, what's been the most challenging thing for you as a dancer or choreographer or teacher, or what's been the greatest challenge for you so far in your dance journey?
The first thing that I thought of was isolation, but there was probably something that's a little bit more challenging than isolation, and that was actually preparing for my iron engagement.
Yes.
So for viewers who don't know what an iron engagement is, it's pretty much your graduation from Bharatanatyam. Iron engagement directly translates to your first performance, or like, you know, your first time on stage. So that's kind of, you know, like saying, look, you know, this is, I've danced for so long, this is everything that I've learned, and now here it is. I'm ready to kind of, you know, come out as a dancer, and you know, in my own shoes, and then you kind of go down your own dance journey as well. So that's kind of it. Obviously, we've performed many other times before the Iron Engagement. But yeah, so actually preparing for this, it's a 3-hour show of just you. So you're dancing for 3 hours. Your stamina, it gets to a level where you've never really had it before. I don't think I'll ever be at that stamina level again, which is kind of sad. But I mean, it did come from, you know, like taking 6 weeks off work, 6 hours a day for 7 days a week with my dance teacher. And it was painful. It was so painful. There were so many tears. There were injuries galore. There was just, oh my God, the most challenging moment, I guess the most challenging time in I wouldn't even say just my dance life, in like just generally my life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very disciplined art form anyway, and the oldest in the world, I think. Is that right? Yeah. And I think anyone that can get through Bharatanatyam classes for a long period of time, and people like you that have done their Arangetra, I'm like, hats off to you. I really just admire people that can do that because, like you said, it's so much stamina, so much discipline over a number of years. And then the last stretch is probably the most difficult, like you said.
It was crazy. At that time, I was actually engaged to my husband. I was so lucky to have him, even though he was here in Melbourne and I was in Sydney, so we were doing the long distance. But every day was like, on the phone, I'd call and be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do my engagement anymore. That is it. I've had enough. I'm not going back to practice. And I sleep for like 2 hours and then get up and go for practice again and then come back and it's just the same thing again. And even to like my mom, thankfully, she knows exactly what it is. And it's always actually been my dream to do an engagement. And it's always been my mom's dream as well to, have me do an engagement as well. So she knew that deep down I would regret it if I pulled out. And she gave me the option. She's like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? You're just kind of pulling yourself down mentally and physically. You're just always tired. And well, yeah, because I'm dancing for 6 hours a day, every day. But she knew that there was something inside me that was still there. And she knew if I didn't do it, I would regret it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did it.
No, I'm like, even just knowing you for the short time that I have, had I known you back then, I would have said you definitely had it in you to do it. And you definitely would have regretted it because you've come all that way anyway. And it's worth having those injuries and the sleepless nights and the aching body. I can only imagine because I've never done classical for that long. I've only had a couple of lessons. So hats off to all of you guys. Yeah.
But I mean, like, even any kind of dancing that you do, it's so important to have that support. It is so important. Like you just never know what it is, like what is going to be thrown at you in life. So at least if you have a group, like I know, for example, if I go down, like if I go through anything dance related or whatever it is, I can always go to my Bindaas family.
Yeah.
Because I know, well, we've got a little family, like kind of created, and we're like, look, guys, I really want to dance, but I can't because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's okay because we'll just do it in another way, or that's all right. Let's just go out instead of dancing. Let's just do something else. And so, like, even like the Christmas dinner that we had last year, it was so good.
Food's always good.
It's always good. No, but it was just really nice to see everyone, in like non-dance attire and just chilling. Really, that's when you kind of realize you're like, you know what, I have like another family here already. And it was just because of like one class, like it's already there. So
no, it's honestly, like, everyone loves you so much because you're such a ball of energy and you're so full of love. It's very difficult to come across dancers like you who are so talented, but
thank you.
You don't have ego or you don't have that attitude. You get a lot of shitty things in the dance industry as well. Like, you've got pretty much all the qualities of like just such an amazing dancer inside and out, and it's just everyone just loves you and we love learning from you. Oh my gosh, you're like a hip-hop master. So I don't know, for those of you watching, check out our socials and also Nikita's and the Pur Academy's one. So Nikita choreographed the song Gumru recently, the hip-hop version. Oh my god, amazing AF. Like, seriously,
I have no idea about hip-hop, by the way.
But you do it so naturally and it's so amazing to see. Usually, and I don't mean any offense at all, like sometimes when someone's classically trained, whether it's in the Eastern community, like India or Indian classical dancing, or in the Western, like ballet, for example, they can be very stiff because it's always that or this, or it's just the way classical dancers are trained with so much discipline. It's so beautiful, but it's very often difficult for them to be like utilizing to hip hop or even just be flexible, like say, for example, do Latin dancing, but your flexibility and the way you transition from one style to another, you'll go from Kathak to Bharatanatyam to Bollywood, hip hop, and then just all the crazy crap that we do in classes as well. No, it's very beautiful to see someone do it so naturally and make it look natural and just with so much ease, because it's not often you see that. So good job.
Yeah. My Kathak teacher actually says the dancer can do like really complicated steps and whatever else, but that the complexity and the difficultness, if that's a word, I'm just going to create the words now. All of that should not be felt by the audience.
Yeah.
So, you know, like even if like a Kathak dancer is doing like 100 spins and then just strikes a pose like very effortlessly, like, oh, it's just 100 spins, don't worry about that. I just have a Tuesday. But, you know, like it's, and that's kind of what the dancer is. And that's what makes it look really impressive.
Yeah.
So, you know, like even in like salsa dancing, you know, like all of those spins and the all those hip movements, and just, you know, like the way they move their hand, and it's very like stiff, and then it's just a very sensual kind of dance, and it's very like, I've tried it, it is very difficult to do. But yeah, they make it look so effortless, like, you know, the girls just flying off in one direction, flying direction,
up in the air.
Exactly.
I didn't get to that part. I did my Latin training for about 4 years, so I started teaching basic Latin, but I never got to those ones. I think it's just I had this thing about going upside down as well.
Yeah, I think that's normal. Don't worry. I think that's really normal.
Good. Since we're crossing over to different dance genres, I did have one particular question. So usually Bollywood dance or modern Indian dance / fusion, sometimes we get a lot of backlash. We get a lot of judgment from the classical community. And I mean no offense at all to the classical community, because I so appreciate those art forms, like all the different classical styles that come from India, and especially the classical styles that come from my background in Sri Lanka. There's many different classical styles, but we do come across a lot of students and teachers and other performers from the classical community. They kind of tend to look down on Bollywood. They think it's a bit too provocative as well, and just like even like honestly, even my friends and relatives, I have quite a few people who have that opinion as well. And I was just gonna say, like, what are your thoughts on this? Because you've done your Arangetram, you've been in the classical world for such a long time, but you also teach Bollywood, and you're so flexible with your teaching styles as well.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. I have actually had that asked once to me. The thing about dance is that there's no right or wrong. As in, there's no right or wrong styles. Like the whole world, it's so multicultural, and you know, like dance just kind of shows that. You know, like you've got your Irish dancing, you've got Bharatanatyam, you've got hip hop, you've got ballet, and each of those dances are amazing in its own sense, right? Bollywood, we've actually been quite blessed with Bollywood in that it's kind of highlighted all the different forms of Indian dancing and brought it into the one category. And you know, it's very accessible, and it's very commercial. Not all of it is provocative, contrary to popular belief. Like, you know, you've got your mixes of like Rajasthani folk, and you know, it's not provocative at all. Yes, you've got your item numbers and stuff, but that's not Bollywood. I mean, it is part of Bollywood, but it's not the whole of Bollywood, right? So I think, like, if you're going to be doing Bharatanatyam, or if you're, you know, doing a semi-classical, then you do semi-classical, or you're doing Bharatanatyam, right? Like, you won't, if you're doing Bharatanatyam, you won't be doing it to some other like Bollywood song, like Jia Jalya, for example, right? That's not Bharatanatyam, that's semi-classical.
Yeah.
Bharatanatyam would then be like your traditional, your classical Carnatic music, kind of back into it. Now, yes, I'm kind of just going with, you know, like the music, just like to show comparison here. But when you're doing a particular dance, you do it to, you know, like you follow the techniques that has kind of made that particular dance a dance. For example, Bollywood, exactly like what you mentioned, you know, like you don't have to be very stiff when you're doing Bollywood, right? Because that's not actually Bollywood. That's someone classical trying to do Bollywood, but it's not quite there, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with it, because it's just like the way people are shaped in their body, and you know, the way people are trained and things. So I'm sure those who are classically trained, who aren't probably as flexible to do Bollywood, I'm sure in like a couple of years, if they just continue with it, it'll be easy for them.
If you can do it, anyone can do it.
Exactly. It can be done. but no, it shouldn't be something that people, you know, look down upon, or, you know, say, oh no, Bharatanatyam is so much better, or Kathak is so much better. It's nothing like that. It's all on the same level.
Yeah.
Dancing tells a story. How you say it in what dance form, that's up to you.
Yeah. No,
But
beautiful.
the part, I mean, is, you know, like if you're going to do a fusion or something, don't call it that classical version.
Yes, yes,
Just
I
call it
completely
fusion,
agree.
or like semi-classical or something. There's nothing wrong with that. There are heaps of them around, and that's again the power of Bollywood, is that it brings the classical and the modern dance, and it brings it together, and you're able to kind of fuse it in, and you're able to come up with an entirely different dance style altogether. So I think we've been pretty lucky with Bollywood, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's just so many different styles all fused together, and it's great because we were having a chat. I think Kunal and I did this gig recently, pre-ISO.
Yeah.
Just very, very much before ISO kicked in. It was for the women's cricket, the T20 that just happened very recently. And we were there collaborating with another dancer, Raf from the Nutbox, and him and Kunal were having this discussion about how in India there's no such thing as proper like Bollywood dance, because it's just dance. Bollywood is something. I mean, Bollywood industry, yes, the Hindi film industry is there, but it's just like Bollywood dance become a more of a Western culture thing, or out of India, because it's kind of keeps people in touch. It gives them quick access. It's very accessible, like you said, but it's just so many different styles, and I think that's what the message we need to get across is that Bollywood is not classical. So when I go out to like schools and teach kids about dancing, the first thing I say is Bollywood is not classical or traditional Indian dance. It's a combination of all the different styles, all the classical styles from all the different states, or all the folk styles, and then it's mixed with Western styles such as hip hop or contemporary Latin, and so it's just we're very lucky. You said it very, very perfectly. But I wanted to ask you, what would you say to especially the youth dancers, young aspiring dancers who do want to try different styles? Because usually sometimes if I get kids coming in to our class and they said, oh, they've tried classical, but they gave it up, I always say to them, don't give up too soon. Go back to your classical class, but keep coming here too. I always encourage them to go back and just try both, if that is a possibility for their families. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say the exact same thing. If it is a possibility for families, definitely try both. The only thing that I would say is probably be careful that the different styles don't start to kind of leak into each other, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when you're doing classical, don't bring the Bollywood style in. When you're doing Bollywood, don't bring the classical style in unless it calls for it.
Yeah.
I can say hands down that the classical style will never call for Bollywood, but Bollywood may call for classical.
Yeah. True.
But I would say definitely have a try. You know, like try as many dance styles as you want. One of them will stick. Like for me, I've tried Mohiniyattam, I've tried Kuchipudi, I've tried Bharatanatyam, and Bharatanatyam stuck.
Yeah.
So, you know, like it's just kind of a matter of finding out what appeals to you as a dancer, and even just as a human being. You know, like sometimes you probably don't enjoy the hardcore discipline in the beginning because it is actually quite boring. Like the first step and stuff that you learn is just beat, and then you're going to stretch, beat, stretch, beat. So yeah, it does take a couple of months to get there, but keep at it. You know, I would probably say give it a year, like as in give classical dance a good solid year, to really make that proper assessment, saying like, yes, I do enjoy this, or you know what, really not. I've given it my best, and you can wholeheartedly say that and say, sorry, it's a beautiful dance, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like it's totally fine. Go try another kind of dance. It's nothing stopping you.
That's it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is like people don't try the different styles, but they also don't try for long enough, especially classical. And that's why I sometimes push the kids back and I say, go back. You got to try for longer. At least you're giving it a chance, because like you said, just learning that first step, like the structures, it's not just about disciplining your body. You're disciplining your mind. Like classical dance forms teach so many things just about disciplining and focusing your mindset as well. So I think, and that's what a lot of children don't understand when they're younger as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully your message gets across. Yeah.
The other thing is with classical dance. Now, my family is not very religious, so if we are to associate ourselves with religion, it would be Hindu or Hinduism. We're not very religious. Like, we don't really go to the temple. We may celebrate, a festival here and there purely just for the food because it's really good, or purely for the
It's
fun.
always good. Yeah.
But like all my knowledge of like Hindu mythology has come from classical dance. And it's just amazing, like, even if you don't want to do the dance, it's just really cool to hear all the stories
Yeah.
that come out of it. And you're like, really? There was a lady that was like disrobed in front of everyone and no one did anything? Like,
Yeah.
that's unheard of these days. But yeah, you're just kind of like, wow, that was the issue back then. That is really strange. But look how far we've come from that. That's pretty cool. I'll take it.
It's great. I think it does definitely give a glimpse into culture. Yeah. But what other styles have you wanted to try and never had a chance to, or maybe you didn't have time, or you tried it once and you just couldn't get the time to do it again?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to learn Kathak. So ever since I was 16, I've wanted to learn Kathak.
Okay.
We didn't have as much time back in Sydney because we were actually part of many other like community groups and all these different organizations and things. So we were like constantly on that. Or I'd have school and then uni, and then I was at work like full time. I was doing my Bharatanatyam classes. So it was just kind of a lot happening. We weren't really able to spend that much time to find a good teacher. So when I moved to Melbourne, I found a little bit more time. And I started learning Kathak, which is really cool. So I learned from Sana Bhattacharya in Wheelers Hill.
Yeah.
She's really good. Like, she goes into every single detail. And yes, I'm slowly bringing my Bharatanatyam into Kathak, but she is correcting that. And that's I guess that's what you really need in a teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I started learning Kathak, which is really exciting. I'm now able to I think I can do up to 4 or 5 spins, which is really cool.
I can't even spin once. That's my weakness in all of dancing. I think spinning is just not for me. Getting better with Anil's training.
Yeah. he's pretty good with them. But the other thing that I wanted to learn is proper hip hop. Not my version of hip hop.
You're such a beautiful hip hop dancer. You've got the swag already, so it'll be very easy for you, I think.
But also Kunal's little
the
cutting thingy of Bobby. It's just, oh my god! Like when he does that, I don't know how he does it.
I always say to Jimmy, Kunal looks fake sometimes when you're watching him, whether it's on the screen or in real life. He just looks so fake, as in fake, as in it's like there's some kind of CGI or some kind of weird effect going on, but it's him. It's all him, and he's just trained himself so well. But that's on my list of things to do. Kunal's whole stuff, robotics, animation, popping, locking, everything.
Yeah. That's something I really want to get down pat.
Yeah, no, I've got a whole list of things, but getting through it very, very slowly. I was going to say we're actually out of time, but I wanted to ask you one last question. So we're still in quarantine. What would you like to say to dancers who are staying home during isolation at any age?
Yeah. Look, keep dancing, really. You don't really need a stage to dance on. You've got your living room, you've got a bedroom, anywhere that's, got a little bit of space, move some furniture out of the way, go in your backyard, balcony, courtyard, wherever it is, just pop a number out. Do it.
Just do it.
Play some music and just dance like no one's watching. I'll be cliche. Choreograph something actually, because now you've got the time to see what kind of your styles. Well, I guess what your style is, and you don't really figure out what your style is till you have to choreograph. I know, when I was younger, I used to do a couple of choreographies here and there, and I really figured out oh my god, I keep doing the same 5 steps every single dance. What is up with that? I need to change this.
No, everyone's got their signature moves.
Yeah, definitely, we do have our signature moves. But even just the actual style itself, and the way it's I feel this step that I'm doing, it looks like another step that I did in another dance. Maybe I should just change it. And you know, and to be honest, like I would really, really, really encourage the younger kids to choreograph. I think they'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely.
they'll
I
really
completely
enjoy it.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like it's like, well, you know, I did something today. You know, I created something. This is mine. Um, Back in Sydney, I used to teach a couple of kids, and there was a homework that I set out saying, all right, well, you need to choreograph a dance each, pick whatever song you want, and then the next class you're going to teach it to everyone else.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
and it worked out so well. You know, like they all just kind of worked together. They were all listening to each other, which is wow. Oh my god, that
I
actually
know. Teacher's dream.
yeah, teacher's
Yeah.
dream. But yeah, no, and it was really good, and they were all so proud of it. And there's nothing more really that a teacher wants to see than
That's
students
it.
proud of something that they've done.
I know.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's such a beautiful thing. And you see, children light up in a different way when they're asked to do specific tasks like that. Like, for example, like we do that twice a term, like in class, and I don't even tell them which day. I'm like, okay, you've got 10 minutes to do this much choreography. Group one, go outside. Group two, stay here. I'm going to play the music on repeat. And you come back and you perform it to your parents and whoever your other classmates.
oh, that's
They
amazing.
just, even if they just do one step, or sometimes they do 3 or 4. And when we first started doing this a couple of times a term, they'd come up with 1 or 2 steps. And now they're so used to doing it, they build on those steps. And now they're doing formations. And I'm like, oh, hell, you're 8 years old and you do better formations than me. So you can actually see how their creative process works as well. And I'm like, I'm totally borrowing that step. Yeah, I could use that. And they're so cool because kids these days, they've got access to so much more than what we did when we were at their age. So especially things like TikTok and Insta and YouTube,
Yeah,
they make so much use of it. They've learned so much from TikTok. They'll incorporate that in their Bolly moves. And I love what you said because it resonates so much with so many of our students. Like, it's just, I think it's something all teachers need to encourage students to do as well. Like,
yeah,
it really brings out their creative side and it makes them feel like they've accomplished something as well. So it sets small goals for them. Yeah.
and you kind of like bringing out, I guess, another teacher in one or many of your students. So you know, like that the knowledge of dance is being passed on and on and on and on and on as we go. So it's good. It's really good.
It's good, definitely good. But I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. But guys, check out all the links at the end of this video. So it'll have links to Nikita's personal account as well as her dance academy. Make sure you do some classes because, you just have to because she's such a beautiful teacher. She's taught the guru for us. So you already know that she's amazing in classical and hip hop. So you can contact her directly. Just see all the details below. And just have an amazing time. Keep dancing. Take all her advice. Dance in your living room. Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you for having me. This was such a good idea. I miss you though.
A hug. Sweet hug. But we'll see you very soon online and in person, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.